Welcome to the Undiagnosis, where we discuss the trends that are happening on your For You page, the relationships you're having, and the discussions that you need to be having with your significant partners. I'm Melissa Holbrook. This is
Jake Holbrook.
And we are the Undiagnosis. Welcome back to the show. Now, so today we're going to talk about our why we do what we do, what made us get into this field, even like why we chose the populations that we work with.
Yeah.
So, I was kind of curious about like just maybe your story if you're wanting to share.
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to go first? It's like a game of chicken.
Game of chicken.
Who wants to be vulnerable first?
I'll be the ladies go first, right? So,
I always go first.
Yeah. So I came to therapy and social work in a roundabout way. I had a career in sales for over a decade, and I was pretty good at it, but it felt kind of gross at the end. I needed to push the agenda and sell the stuff and do the things, and it felt pretty icky. The whole time that I was in sales, though, I didn't like to do it the way I was told because it felt gross. But I had a really good client base, and I got that because I just took the time. When I was in retail, my favorite clients were the older men and women that didn't know how to use their phones, and I'd go spend an hour with a lady.
Love old people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd spend like an hour with an old widow teaching her how to set up her voicemail, and my bosses were just freaking out because they weren't making any money on it. And she's the one that would come back for Christmas and buy 10 iPads for her kids. So it ended up working, but it just kind of went against the culture the way I like to do it.
You like to play the long game?
I do like the long game. Right? But yeah, my life kind of exploded at the end of that. I was in a toxic marriage, and I was about killing myself, drinking a fifth a day and a 12-pack of beer a day and 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and it was just not working. So the marriage ended, and the career ended, and everything just kind of exploded, and I decided I want to do something more meaningful. So I quit my job and was a stay-at-home dad for a few months, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done. I'm not a stay-at-home guy, so that was rough. And I moved from a 6-figure job into being a psych tech at the Davis Crisis Unit, making $10 an hour. And
no one can say I went with you for the money.
No, because
there was none.
I was driving a hoopty.
I made more than you as a teacher.
You made more than me as a school teacher, and so, but yeah, the long game was eventually doing what we're doing today, but it still took me a long time to get here. I worked in community mental health and early psychosis. I worked with elder care. I was on the elder justice subcommittee for Davis County for a little while. I worked in the hospital setting. I worked with the crisis unit, crisis outreach. I worked with Weber School District with the really fun, troubled youngsters that like to take chairs to your head and
that was terrible.
Bite chunks of flesh out of you on the daily. And then I moved into foster care. And when I was 40, I kind of got to a place where I thought I could settle down enough to sit in a room and talk to people. And by the time I got there, I couldn't have gotten there sooner. I wouldn't have been ready for it. But I had enough lived experience and enough patience that when I got there, it just clicked. But yeah, I feel like when I sit with clients, it's weird because I know I get paid for it, and it's still hard, but it just feels so natural at this point. So I love what I do.
How about you work with a very distinct population that probably feels like easier?
Well, I don't know. My population's pretty diverse. I have my youngest client right now, and I don't really work with kids unless I'm working with the whole system, whole family system. My youngest is 12. My oldest is in his 70s. I have trans clients. I have Marines. I have cops. I have housewives. I have working professionals. I have all walks of life.
Not the Real Housewives, by the way.
Not the Real Housewives. No, those are
but
my clients.
If you're ever interested, I'd be happy to work with you.
If you want therapy to be hard, I'm your guy.
Yeah, if you want it to be real therapy.
Therapy's supposed to be kind of hard, though.
Therapy is
right?
supposed to be kind of hard.
We might as well just use ChatGPT if we just want to be validated. But
Please don't use ChatGPT.
it's not therapy.
No, it's
validation, which I understand feels good, but
it's an echo chamber.
yeah, we're not here to make ourselves feel good. We're here to grow, and so I think my population is people that are willing to lean into their darker or repressed parts. It doesn't always have to be dark, but
yeah,
like for me, being joyful and silly is part of my dark part. That's a hard part for me to express. So trying to like help people find what those things are. Doing trauma work is a lot of fun. Working with masculinity and men's issues is a big passion I have right now. Working with dying and death is something I like too. Religious trauma. I kind of all over the place. I'm the social worker. You're the specialist. So
that is why I got the degree I had, so that I could be
Yes.
able to say that I'm right and you're wrong. Because I have the specialty in marriage and family therapy. If I need housing advice, I'll let you know. That's not real. I really don't feel that way. That's just. I just love giving you crap.
And insurance still pays me the same rate that
Exactly.
you get, so it doesn't really matter.
There is no change when it comes to that. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think that is just kind of like when we talk about what we do and why we do it, like we come from two different angles, and I think that's what makes our practice unique. Is we have two different therapeutic lenses that sometimes complement and sometimes can be challenging for the other person, and I think that's good. I think that's what keeps our practice like not just ethical, but I think it also keeps us sharp in our skills. Like it makes us really question what we're doing, why we do it, how we're doing it. Is it producing the type of results for clients that we want, that they want, that we're striving to give them as an outcome, that kind of thing. And I think that's good. I think it's good that we have that back and forth with each other, because we were taught from two different lenses.
Yeah, the back and forth of me being wrong and you being right. It works every time.
Well, that's just marriage. That's just being married to me. When you said I do, you said I do, except that I will be wrong for the rest of my life. That's exactly what you said. I remember what you were wearing.
And I don't think you need my validation to know that for yourself, dear. So that's cool.
Very true. That wasn't condescending at all. Please do not behave like that towards your wife. We are not the example.
But what got you into this?
How did I get here? Well, I drove in my car by myself, but I got a coffee. No, how I arrived at being a therapist. That is the origin story, right? Like, I think I've always been interested in psychology from a young age, but I lived a lot of different lives. I think you can also attest by now, like you've lived a lot of different lives. I've lived a lot of different lives, and even our kids, when we went to dinner with our daughter and her boyfriend, like we were bringing up like that I wrote a book and that I competitively fought and that and she's like, how many lives have you lived? And I'm like, a lot. Like I've lived a lot of lives. Growing up, I was like really poor when I lived with my mom, and there was a lot of different traumas that came in living in that kind of environment. My mom was addicted to drugs, and I raised my younger sister, taught her how to read, write. I even potty trained her, like did a lot of that stuff. Like I was parentified at a pretty young age. And that was hard, but I think when you grow up that way, there's a level of normalcy. And I just think I just kind of normalized it. Lived with my grandparents for about a year, and then the state of California got involved, and I was taken out of that custody arrangement and put with my dad. And so that's how I moved to Utah. And that felt like an entirely different chapter. It's a huge culture shock coming to Utah from California.
It's not weird here.
It is significantly weird here. It is palpable. I mean, we literally chew the air at this point. Like it is the one of the very first question I got asked on the first day of school was, "What are you?" And I was so confused by the question because my answer was human, and they looked at me like I was an idiot. And I was thinking, "You're the idiot for asking what I am." Like, and then I was like, "A girl?" Like, I was just trying to find an answer to,
Pretty?
yeah, God, like, well, I didn't think of myself as pretty when I was 13, um, but eventually, like, they went, "What ward do you go to?" And I don't know what that is. Like, an award, I've gotten a reading award, like I'm trying to think of awards.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, no, no, what church?" And I was like, "Oh." And so I like rattled off the church that we had gone to in the summer while I had first moved over with my dad. And they were like, "Oh, so you're not Mormon." And I was like, this was back when you could say Mormon, right? Call people Mormon. And I was like, "No, I don't even know what that is." That person never talked to me again. And so
That's so sad.
I know it was really weird. And just a lot of those things happened in my first year. I didn't make the softball team. It was just such a culture shock. And then I lived with my dad and my stepmom, and that was kind of just a hard adjustment. I was used to being the parent and not having structure or rules. And I think I butted against that quite a bit. There were also like things that I didn't agree with how I was parented. I felt like there was favoritism, and I felt like there were rules for certain things and there weren't rules for other things. And now that I'm older, I also understand that I was the oldest and I was the guinea pig to some extent, so that's just how it works. But there was a lot of things that I felt were harmful in the opposite direction. And then I got married really young. I got married to my high school sweetheart, and we had kids almost immediately. I got pregnant. I got married at 19, and I got pregnant at 20, and she was here by the time I turned 21. And that was really hard. Like, we were poor. Like, we were back to like figuring out how to make it work, and I refused to be on state assistance because I was prideful, and I associated that with a lot of my childhood trauma and being in that system and being taken by the state. I just was ill informed as a young adult of how that all worked. And if I could go back now, I would tell her to freaking take care of your family that way and stop stressing, get the support you need. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you're less of, or that you're causing trauma or anything like that. It doesn't mean you're carrying on that same story. So I wish I could go back and tell her that. It would have helped her mentally, I think, a lot. I had a lot of postpartum depression with my first daughter. It was really scary for that, and I had no idea what that even was. So it was kind of a whirlwind having kids. And my husband at the time like was habitually unfaithful, so it was a real struggle in feeling not just supported but also feeling wanted. And eventually that led to our divorce. And yeah, and then I think the divorce, though, was probably the best thing for us. He needed to live a certain type of life, and I needed to live my life. We just had incompatible lifestyles that we were trying to fit into one.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got the divorce, I really did a lot of work on myself to be the type of person that I wanted to be. I had a nonprofit. I wrote a book. I started doing things that I like to do. It was really invigorating. And
Your book was my guide to know how to date you.
that's kind of stalkerish, but
Yeah, it
cool.
worked.
That's creepy. That's creepy. So yeah, and I always wanted to be a teacher. Once I started having kids, I wanted to be a teacher because I wanted, selfishly, I wanted the same schedule as my kids. I wanted to be available when they were off, but I also wanted to provide a
Oh my
life.
gosh.
Well, because I wanted it to be, it is about me. I wanted to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
Um, so I did it really because I wanted to be there. I think my teenagers now would be like, meh, give or take. I could do with or without you at this point.
And they do
And they
sometimes.
do.
Whether we're there or not, they're
Whether
like,
we're there or
go
not.
away.
Yeah, it's just go away. Um, but I think, yeah, I think once I got that teaching position, which I worked really hard to get, I was going to college and I was doing all the things, and I was a single mom with 3 kids and working full time as a teacher. And it was really empowering to have that type of independence and feel like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And I remember that very clearly. There was just a day where I was just like, we're going to be all right. It was like a year and a half after all of it. It was really cool just sitting in my car with my 3 kids and being like, we're going to be all right. And like the relief of it all. I think when your life is so full of people letting you down and betrayal, and you kind of internalize that as like a reason why you might not be good enough for someone to want to be there, and so you keep striving to be better. I worked so hard in my first marriage to make it work, and it just wouldn't work, and I took that on as a failure, and I internalized that as I can't do it without someone else. Like I can't be okay. I mean, you've met my grandma. um, but that day it was like, I am doing it. I am okay. And there's no one else doing this life with me but my kids, and I'm doing okay. We're okay. And that was really impactful. And then I met you. and and I think it's funny, like the way in which we met was quite a coincidence.
Serendipitous.
Yes, that it was that. Yeah, I had published a book. I had done all these other things, and I was in college for my bachelor's, and I was doing all this stuff. I was creating curriculum. I was just on top of the world kind of thing. And again, because psychology has always been an interest of mine, I wanted to do something for the kids that I was working with. And I knew that a couple of kids that year had gone through some pretty significant losses with parents passing. A couple of kids had gone through some pretty significant divorces. And I thought, like, I have an interest in this. I am taking educational courses on this. Like I want to contribute. So I started like an after school program for kids for social behavioral support. We did games about learning how to express emotions and videos and things like that. And it was really fun. And I invited our son to be a part of that. And
My
that's,
son to be a part of it.
well,
At the time.
your
At the
son.
time.
He's my son,
He
damn
is
it.
absolutely your son.
And yeah, and that's how we met. And I think that was something that was very meaningful. Part of when we got to know each other was that you had an interest also in mental health.
I was working in it. I was working towards my master's, but
Yeah,
we had that in common.
Yeah, we had that in common. So like intellectually, we started having some really good conversations.
Which is something I'd never really had with another woman before, to be honest. Not one that I was interested in anyway.
Yeah.
But even before that, I pulled into that, the drop off to drop Coop off at school that day, and he pointed you out that you were the teacher teaching that class, and I was fucking done. Like I saw you and you saw me, and you came walking to the car, and I couldn't put a sentence together. You introduced yourself, and I about shit myself, and yeah, it was.
That would have made a lasting impression if you had shit yourself. That's for sure. That's what we were missing that first year.
Maybe
you shitting yourself.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But damn, like that was it for me.
Yeah.
You said hi, and I was done. So.
He's so cute. Aw, everyone's listening, going, aw. No, it was a good meet. I thought it was. Yeah. I had actually met you like a year before.
I wasn't ready for that.
No, I don't think either of us were, but it's funny, like sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I met you that one time at, pickup after school because I was watching the classroom for Cooper's class, and, I had to ask who you were before you could take them. And, we've talked about that it's funny. Like I thought you were cute, but I wasn't in a place where I could pursue anything. Yeah. I had just gotten a divorce. You had just, gone through your own life stuff. And so I don't think that was the right time for us. No. We wouldn't have worked out had we tried at that time. So, but then it did. And it was great. And like us both getting our masters and combining a family in the same year was a little,
That was so crazy.
that was so dumb. Do not recommend that. I think I had like 12 mental breakdowns.
Yeah.
Like,
And we were both working full time.
and we were both working full time. Yeah, you all had an automatic toddler in the first year of our marriage that you had to get ready for preschool because I had to be at the school by a certain time.
I was
And
up at 4 every day anyway, so that
yeah,
was fine.
it was just a huge shift. But yeah, I think that was a big part of our story is what led us to be where we are today.
Yeah.
Doing mental health, having an agency where people can get resources and help. Because, like, we've been through shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're not people who just went and got an education and sit down in a chair now. Like, we have lived so many different lives that have given us such a diverse lens on what people are going through. Like, we can relate to a lot of different stories because we've lived a lot of different versions of life.
I think that's what makes a good therapist is they're not just fresh out of school, and that's a good perspective for some people. But I think that's why we're so successful at what we do.
Yeah.
We've had success at other things, and we've had failures at other things,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a different perspective. So.
Yeah. So when I think about why I do what I do, my whole life is the why.
Yeah.
My whole life is the why. Every time that I do something that I feel is such a remarkable thing, that little girl, comes back and is like, wow, holy crap, this is the life we live? That's crazy. Like, she's just so glad that I have something that brings so much purpose and meaning to my life, and that I have the type of family that she's always wanted. She's always wanted this type of family. And so that's why I do what I do. I'm making that little girl proud. And the bonus is I get to help people.
Yeah.
Like, I get to make meaningful help for people.
You're good at it.
So are you.
Thanks.
That's as much as you're going to get from me as far as a compliment.
It's more than I've ever gotten.
Shut up.
So
Yeah.
I feel like I phoned in a little bit of mine. Is it okay if I reset just a little bit on that? So I appreciate your origin story, so I'll share a little bit of mine.
You want to do your origin story?
My origin story. No, but my story is very, very different than yours. I grew up as a privileged white kid from Riverdale, Utah, and my parents are still married. My parents were not on drugs. Never went hungry. The power was always on.
No. Tell me more about how awesome your life
Family,
used to
friends,
be.
right?
You
all the things.
went to England.
So I have zero trauma or even subjective pain to work through, and
We all have
whatsoever.
trauma.
So,
We all have trauma.
right. But no, I growing up, I was always like an anxious kid though. I was always worried about, are people okay? Is mom okay? Is everybody all right? I needed everyone to be happy. And I grew up incredibly Mormon, which is what I grew up calling it. And, growing up Mormon, you are expected to follow the blueprint, which is you go to church every Sunday, you go to seminary. When you're 19, you go on a mission. You come home from your mission, you go to college, you get married in the temple, and you ride that celestial kingdom map into
the
eternity.
rubric.
And if you deviate from that, you're going to outer darkness, and your family will never be with you. And it was a lot of pressure. And little Jake knew something that it took me a long time to catch up to. I'd cut my Sunday school clothes up into 1-inch shreds when I was 3 years old to get out of going to church. Like, I didn't belong. So I tried to fit in, and it didn't fit.
Yeah.
But it was the only game in town. It was just the expectation. So, when I was a kid, we did all the things, but I still didn't, I don't know. Sorry.
No, you keep going.
But yeah, overall, I had a great childhood. I played sports. I wasn't really good at them. I was good at archery. I got invited to Olympic trials when I was in 4th grade.
I have the shirts.
Yeah, I was beating adults, and I had sponsors, and my mom worked for Delta, and my parents sacrificed a lot. They flew me all over the country doing this stuff. I had coaches. Got to a point where they're like, you can go to the Olympics if you want to. And I was like, well, I need to go full time at this and stop going to school and get a tutor for school. And I wanted to be a kid, right? And so I dropped the archery thing, and my parents were very supportive and understanding about that, and started playing football and doing other things that I just kind of wanted to do. And
Which is so funny because we are the farthest thing from
yeah,
sitting down and watching football or
I'm,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
it was a different life, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I did okay in school. But, when I hit junior high, I started to break bad a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and, smoked some weed and stole cigarettes from the Conoco and did some light vandalism around town. And this was
Jeez, you were worse than me.
yeah. And this
Gosh.
was during like the peak of the satanic panic of the 90s where, I was
I forget
dyed,
you're so much older than
yeah,
me.
I dyed my hair blue, and that got me out of going to church for the first time in my life for about a month until my dad like pretty much forced me to shave my head and get your butt in the car and we're going to church. He would say butt, not ass. But
We can say ass.
so, but during that window, I, was trying to reclaim that little bit of myself, and it was a really hard space for me. If my parents found a CD with an explicit lyrics sticker on it, I was grounded. All my
Mm-hmm.
shit was taken. Right? It was pretty dark. Eventually, I kind of broke that out of them.
Mm-hmm.
They decided it wasn't going to work, but I was kind of getting into some shit in junior high, and my friends were probably not the greatest influence. And then right before high school, I just didn't want to do it anymore, so I shaped up. I didn't smoke or drink or party all the way through high school. A lot of my friends did. I was their DD. I just didn't really want to. But yeah, high school was fine. Graduated from seminary. Was back on following the blueprint. So the plan was do a year of college and serve a mission. And so I, you know, went to the MTC to go serve a mission in Portugal. And I'm in the MTC, and my first week there was weird and scary and intense, but I was doing okay. And 8 days into it, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and had a panic attack for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never had anything like that. The only thing I knew about mental health was my grandma was batshit crazy and probably needs meds and therapy, but that wasn't a thing. Nobody did therapy
Yeah.
back then, and there was a lot of meds.
Yeah.
And I found out the hard way about
Yeah.
that. So after, just after day 8, I had my panic attack. Within that next week, I'd lost 25 pounds. I couldn't stop having panic attacks. I was scared to fall asleep. I couldn't pay attention in class. And I was talking, that was when I met my first therapist as well. Really nice guy in the MTC. And he was just trying to teach me some skills and try and understand what was happening. And I just kept getting worse and worse. Leadership in the missionary training center came to me and said things like, well, if there's something you haven't atoned for, that would explain for why you're struggling. So what did you do that you haven't told us about? And so I was racking my soul, like, well, I flipped my mom off when I was, 9, and I called my dad a dick, and I like anything I could think of just to try and get rid of this, and it wasn't enough. So I just, I'm flawed. I'm doing something wrong, or I'd be blessed enough to be able to stay here. And president of the MTC pulls me out of class and tells me my parents are coming to pick me up, and I told him to fuck off, and that's not allowed. But I no. And he's like, what? And I said no, and I just got up and walked out of his office, and they had to drag me out of there. Um, and so for the next 3 months, I was still on a missionary active duty status. My parents were my companions, and I didn't want anyone to know that I was home because coming home early was
Not a good
not
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
Right. And so I hid in the basement, and my stake president did a beautiful thing and terrifying thing, though, too. He didn't know any better, but he came to our house and trying to support me. He let me know about the mental health missionary pilot program that the church had just launched. And so I was one of the guinea pigs, and it implied it had zero therapy. They got me in with a psychiatrist, and he diagnosed me with a psychotic disorder and told me that this would be a lifelong condition that you're going to need to be heavily medicated for, and the side effects are going to be such that you might just want to file for disability. So within 3 months of meeting this doctor,
Look where he is now.
so within 3 months of meeting this drug dealer, he had me on 12 different medications at the same time.
Oof.
Antipsychotics, antidepressants, mood stabilizers. Guy gave me Adderall, even though he knew I didn't have ADHD, because the 3 sleeping meds he had me on took me out so much that the Adderall woke me up in the morning to get me going. He had me on lithium, which is a really powerful antipsychotic that he didn't manage the blood levels very well, so I was overdosed on that. He had me on 4 full bars of Xanax a day prescribed and 6 milligrams of Klonopin on top of that. I was snowed out of my mind. And I was still having panic attacks because I wasn't in the mission center. I wasn't in the MTC. And finally, my stake president came to me and says, you've done your best. You've served the Lord. We're going to give you an honorable discharge. And I did not agree. And a lot of my family, not my parents, but I lost a lot of people in my life at that point. Yeah, because I didn't fit anymore. And it really proved to me that I didn't belong. And I was angry and I was hurt and I was sad and I didn't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I had all these wonderful pills that just helped me not feel anything. So I got off my mission and called up my old buddies from junior high. I was like, hey, they're like, aren't you on your mission? I was like, nope, but I got some cool pills. You guys want to smoke a bowl and have a beer? I'll tell you all about it. And so I actually started talking about my experience with friends, and it was really helpful. But I thought the drugs and alcohol will help me more. So
Yeah.
I was head first into my addiction. And over that next year, I'd overdosed a few times. I was smoking meth and crack and doing coke in the basement and drinking and smoking in the backyard. And my parents were just losing their minds. They didn't know what to do to help me. And they finally got to a point where they realized they were enabling me. And they did the scariest thing for them and probably the best thing they could have done for me. And that was to kick me out. And I couch surfed for a minute and slept in my car for a while. And moved into a friend of mine's house that was in a band. And so the debauchery continued. And
Hedonism.
yeah, but the Mormon roots still kind of took hold really hard as far as core values. So
Yeah.
the way I describe it to clients is I was so Mormon that I smoked meth before I had sex. And if you know, you know, like that tracked, because sex is the ultimate sin.
Ultimate sin.
Right? So, so yeah, pretty misguided. And yeah, so I lived that life, and then I met a girl at a party who was just as fucked up as I was, and she didn't give me a problem for getting high. She got high with me, so fuck it, let's get married. Because couldn't go to college, I was too fucked up for that, right? And planning on filing for disability anyway. So, but yeah, so we got married. I was working a shitty job, and then she got pregnant, and that's when things started to change for me. I got off all the street drugs. I got off all the Xanax and the Klonopin, and it was bad. And I put together a few years of white knuckled sobriety. So my oldest son, or my first son, our son,
Our son, yeah.
he saved my life because it got me off the hard stuff. But then I became a high functioning alcoholic because it was still, I didn't know how to deal with my shit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I got promotions and raises and all the notoriety and felt important to doing big boy stuff, and I was making good money, but I was just miserable. My first wife had a lot of mental health issues and major substance abuse issues that we were very codependent and blind to about with each other. And she was in and out of hospitals and psych wards for suicide attempts and doctor shopping. And it was bad. And it finally came to a head where I got sober and she couldn't stay sober. And that was the end of it. And that next year, my brother-in-law committed suicide. My dad got diagnosed with terminal cancer, even though he's still here today, so he's cured. The divorce went through. A month after that, my ex-wife got killed by her boyfriend, and the fuck.
Yeah.
And a few months after that, my sister-in-law committed suicide, and I didn't know what was happening. So that's when I just reset everything, and I felt confident about quitting a high-paying job to go make $10 an hour. And during that window is when I met you. And if I'd have met you a year sooner, like I did, I couldn't even see you.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't ready to see you until I was. And
Yeah.
so I'm just glad I got to a place where I was worthy enough to be able to be considered by you.
Worthy enough.
Yeah, I wasn't. There's some Mormon lingo for you.
Yeah.
Worthiness, right?
Worthiness.
I wasn't healthy enough or ready enough or confident enough or able enough, but I met you at the best possible time I could have.
Yeah. Well, I think timing has everything to do with our story. Like, if we hadn't lived the life that we lived, I don't think we'd be where we're at today. I don't think we would be who we are today, obviously, but
No regrets.
no regrets. I feel like a lot of what we do is to, in our profession, I think what a lot of what we do is to connect with people. And because, again, we've lived so many different lives, it helps that connection piece. Yeah. I mean, like, people ask me, have asked me, clients, friends, family members, ask me if I'm, still angry or upset or anything with my ex for his infidelity, and I go back to no. I think that actually has helped me do what I do. Like I specialize in ethical non-monogamy, and I can relate to the pain and betrayal of what people feel when someone else, when their partner wants to open a relationship, and I can also understand what's at stake. Like I'm not taking it lightly. It's not something where I go, "Oh, it's just boom, 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 and you're good." It's like, no, this is gonna be fucking hard.
Yeah.
You're gonna experience heartbreak, and you get to choose whether or not you go along for that ride. And I don't do the work unless that is completely understood by everyone. Consent's a really big deal to me, and I think had things been different in my life, I wouldn't be able to see that pain and heartache and go, "You can work through it if that's something you want to do." Um, and that's why I love working with that population. I come from a background of infidelity. My parents were habitually cheating on each other. My biological parents habitually cheating on each other. Um, and to some degree, part of me thinks like, what would it have been like if people just restructured out of the norm? If we just said, I love you, you love me, there's some things that I need to explore because my high demand religion never let me, or I never got to figure out my sexual identity, or I have so many needs and it pushes against your core values and I don't want to lose you. So, how do we make it work? There's so many reasons that people come to see me because they want to open their relationship. And I think about all the different examples of relationships that were so unhealthy because no one was saying the quiet thing out loud, the honest thing out loud.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of hope to give them, is a space where they can just be honest about what they need and what they want. Sometimes it results in opening a relationship. Sometimes it results in just a stronger connection and working on healing in the relationship, or working on themselves to be fully into the relationship the way they don't know how to be because of their own examples or trauma.
We try and teach people how to sit with their pain instead of resist it.
Yeah.
And our pain teaches us more than the fun in our lives, I think. It shows you who you really are, whether you like it or not. It just hurts.
Yeah.
I was sitting with a client. This is one of those moments that came full circle for me. I was sitting with him a few weeks ago, and he was 22. And as he told me his story, he grew up in the faith, in the culture here. He fell into substance abuse. His mission didn't work out. His girlfriend dumped him after he came home from his mission. Like, there were so many things in line with my own story, and it hurts when we hear people tell us our stories, right?
Yeah.
And I was really in a good place in that moment, and I think generally I'm now. But he was telling me all this, and he asks me, he said, "What would you tell your 22-year-old self?" And I sat with it for a minute, and some hurt came over me because I remember how much pain I was in that moment of my life. And then I just kind of sat with it, and from the perspective that I was at them today, I was able to kind of look at it, and I cried a little bit even before I answered it. He's like, "What?" And I just smiled, and the only thing I could tell him was like, the only thing I would tell myself at 22 is that you're going to figure it out. Like, any advice, he'd have told me to fuck off anyway. You dumb old man, right?
Yeah.
But every single thing that I've been through was so essential to get me to where I am. I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
I got you. We have this. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So
We should make a drinking game out of who cries when we do these.
I'll drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you can have Kool-Aid. The rest of
I'll
us
just have
will
to
have
peel
shots.
So,
Yeah. No, I think the gratitude is a big part of our story. We're grateful to be able to do what we do. We're grateful to be able to like provide, again, meaningful service and quality care to people because we've been on the side of neglect and abuse, and we've been on the side of quality care and compassion for other people. We have a deep gratitude for people who show up, and we want to be the people who show up for other people.
I just get so impressed with people that are willing to embrace their suffering in a way that's meaningful. It changes everything.
Yeah. We all have pain.
Oh yeah, can't avoid it.
Yeah. We get to pick the pain. We get to pick the hard. Let me help you with that. But there's no avoiding it. There's no
Plenty of avoiding it.
it comes.
I
It
learned
happens.
a Buddhist math equation.
You what?
I learned a Buddhist math equation last week.
Great.
And it's pain, which is constant and inevitable. Never mind.
Nope, keep going.
No, we're good.
No, that's fun. It's fun. Pain is constant and inevitable.
So pain is just for everybody, right?
Yes.
But we avoid it. Right? We don't want to feel sad. We don't want to feel inadequate. We don't want to feel anxious. We don't want to feel upset or angry. Right? So if you have pain for something, pain is multiplied by the resistance to that pain. And that is the equal of suffering. So if I drink, why did I drink? Well, I was anxious. So anxiety was my pain. So I drank. And then I lied about drinking. And then I hid the alcohol. And then I hid the money I spent on it. So 1 times 4 is 4. So I had one pain that turned into this. And if I can just learn to sit with my pain with zero resistance, I just have pain. There's nothing left. Anyway, let's get rid of that part.
No, I like it.
I don't like the way I described it. We'll use that another time.
It's fantastic.
So anyway, yeah.
We were just talking about Buddhist stuff with someone. Was it with you? I think I was talking about Buddhist stuff with you. I don't know. It was like an hour or 2 ago. I was talking about Buddhist stuff. Anyways, point is, that's why we do what we do. Now, the reason why we went into business for ourselves, though, is because we wanted to create that independence and we wanted to do, like, to be bratty. We wanted to do things our way.
We learned a lot.
I wanted to do things our way.
We had good examples for what to do and things we didn't want to do the same way. And this is it's been really fun to...
Yeah.
And I like my own schedule, and I like that I don't really have to answer to anybody. It's really fun.
Yeah, that part's fun.
My clients are my bosses, basically, and I get to tell them to eat shit when I don't like it, so it's fun.
Well, I like that we get to create whatever we want to create. If I want to create a group for ethical non-monogamy, I can create a group for ethical non-monogamy. If I want to serve a community in a certain way, I can do it without having to check boxes or ask permission. If I want to, expand something because I think it will help a particular clientele demographic, then I will do it.
We get to learn what we want to learn and do it how we want to do it.
Yeah, get to specialize in what we specialize in, and no one's, judging it or, we had really good supervisors who really poured into us that let us go there. And I think us being able to give that back also to clinicians under us is a big part of why we wanted to be self-employed, is we wanted to give that back.
Yeah, as therapists, we help people, but as owners, as an agency, we want to help people.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like meta therapy. It's fun.
Yeah. I wanted to be a therapist for the previous reasons, but I wanted to own my own therapy company because I want to help people.
Yeah.
And I want them to do it in a way that, still abides by ethics, but has some creative freedom, lets them have that autonomy.
Yep.
If you're in it just to make money, we're not the practice for you.
And you're not going to last in the game anyway.
Yeah. Like we want to give you the resources to live a good, productive life, but at the same time, making therapy your own is a big part of what makes a great therapist, is when you create the thing that you can pour yourself into. You have a lot more buy-in, and it attracts the right people that need that from you.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why we do what we do.
I love you.
I love you too. It felt more like us recalling our love story, like when you
Good
meet
one.
people and they're like, "How did you meet?" And you're like, "Well, let me tell you." But we just like started from birth, you know?
Yeah.
It was a cold, dark, stormy night.
Not for me.
No, neither for me. I was born in May, so
4th of July.
okay. Well, calm down.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was really dramatic, wasn't it?
It was. He
God.
still thinks fireworks are for him. It's pretty amazing. We let him believe that. Although this year was so sad because we watched fireworks by ourselves for the first time ever.
Empty nesters, sort of.
Ever. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. All our kids hung out with their friends. We sat and watched fireworks by ourselves. We haven't done that in
Ever.
together. Yeah, that was weird. One of those life stages. Damn, we're getting old. Well, you are. Botox does not allow me to get old. I will be forever young. Right?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Burner, burn.
Burner, 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 burner,
Burner,
burner. Is that how we're ending it?
I don't know.
I don't know. You started singing it.
That's how we started. Let's do a bookend. I like a good bookend.
I know. I was going to say you like good bookends.
I love a good bookend.
I like alliteration. You like bookends.
Yes.
We watched Fight Club with the kids on Friday. Totally forgot about the penis clip, even though we had talked about it.
A nice fat cock.
This is only like a second.
Yeah.
It's fast. And then it does
I
it
was
right
like-
at the very end again.
Kurt's like, "Wah!" I was like, "Oh my God, I totally forgot about that."
At least your drawings will be accurate.
Yes.
Yes. It's
And
like, that's what it looks like. Can we rewind and pause it? No.